Rebecca Futo Kennedy, and today I'm reading to you from a translation, my own translation, of an ancient speech that's come down to us under the name of Demosthenes on behalf of the actors of Dionysus' Daily Dose and as part of their Women in the Ancient World theme. The speech, Pseudo Demosthenes 47 against Avergus and Nasibolus, presents to us a case of a man who owes money to one of another man and then arranges to make the payment. While he's off doing so, other men come to his home and attempt to steal his property. In the process, an old woman, his former nurse, once enslaved but now free, is killed. He tells us how she was injured and that he asks the men who did so to provide her a doctor. They don't, and then she dies. Here he asks how he might hold them accountable under Athenian law. Therefore, jurors, when I demanded that he tend to the woman whom they had beaten and bring in a doctor, since they disregarded my request, I myself brought in a doctor whom I had consulted with over many years. He tended to her while she was ailing. I showed him her condition and produced witnesses. I heard from the doctor that the woman would not long survive, and then once again demanded, having produced further witnesses as to her condition, that the men who had harmed her take care of her. On the 6th day after they had entered my house, my nurse died. After her death, I went to the religious authorities to see what my obligations were regarding these men. I described in detail to them all that had transpired. The arrival of the men, the kindness of the woman, how I had kept her in my house, and how she died simply because she wouldn't give them a little cup. The religious authorities listened and then asked me whether they should only interpret the law for me or whether I also wanted their advice on what I should do. I responded that I would like both. They then said, "We will interpret the laws for you and also advise you for your own benefit. First, if the woman has any relatives, have them carry a spear in her funeral procession and make a public denouncement in front of her tomb. Then, have them stand guard over her tomb for 3 days. We advise you to do the following. Since you were not yourself present at the house, but only your wife and children, and there are no other witnesses, do not denounce anyone by name, but only make general statements against people who perpetrate such acts and who are murderers. Also, don't file a lawsuit with the Basileus Archon. The law does not allow you to do so. The woman was not a member of your family, nor was she your slave, based on what you've told us. The law commands prosecution only on behalf of relatives or slaves. If you or your wife or children should take the oath before the Palladium, accusing Theophemus and Avergus of murder, the result will be curses upon you and your household. Further, your reputations will be diminished in the eyes of many. If they should be acquitted, it will be assumed that you gave false testimony. If they should be condemned, however, you will earn the ill will of others. Instead, simply purify your household and yourself, bear this misfortune as lightly as possible, and avenge yourself in some other way, if you are so inclined." I heard these words from the religious authorities, and then I reviewed the stones inscribed with Draco's laws. I took counsel with my friends also, and they advised me the same as the authorities. Do what needs to be done to purify my household and follow the other advice the authorities gave me. The result is that I held my peace on the matter of my nurse, as the law says I must. For the law, men of the jury, dictates that only those relatives who are second cousins or closer may bring prosecutions, and as part of the procedure, how the person is related is determined under oath, even in the case of slaves. The woman was not a member of my family, nor was she any longer my wet nurse, nor a household slave. She had been set free by my father, had lived apart from the household, and had married.